I think we have a good crowd to get started. Sarah, what do you think?
Sounds great. Well, welcome everyone. We are so glad you are here. I'm Sarah Hu, and I'm going to be your host tonight. Um, I always like I lead the Raising Anti-Racist Children Parenting Workshop, and I always like to start every workshop with just a mindful moment. So I wanted to do that with us here tonight. So what we do is we put one hand over our heart, and I invite you to do that with me, and one hand on your head, and take a few deep breaths. And we thank our minds for being analytical and helping us process all that information and focus. And we thank our hearts for our empathy and our understanding. And together they make us who we are. And then we give ourselves a big hug. And we say, I am enough. I am enough. All right. Well, we are so glad to welcome you here tonight. As you know, this is being hosted by Sarasota Strong. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and tell you a little bit about this amazing organization. There we go. All right, so Sarasota Strong, or SRQ Strong, is a growing group of Sarasota County neighbors committed to learning about trauma and responding to its impact. Our mission is to promote community-wide trauma awareness through healing, education, action, and of course, leadership. And Sarasota Strong totally invites you to be a part of the conversation and join our monthly community forums, just like this one, to become part of a trauma-informed, resilient Sarasota. And you are certainly going to hear about some of the amazing workshops that Sarasota Strong sponsors tonight. And we do invite you to check out their website, srqstrong.org, where you can take a look at the different workshops that they offer and also register for them. So that's Sarasota Strong, and we are so grateful that they are hosting us here tonight. So tonight we are talking about social justice and racial equity. And so I wanted to start the evening by really kind of outlining what a trauma-informed approach to racial injustice looks like. So first and foremost, a trauma-informed approach recognizes that there are real psychological and physiological impacts of experiencing trauma, and that living within systemic racism is traumatic, both for individuals and communities. And so what we are doing here tonight is really highlighting some of the grassroots efforts of building a community that cares for itself. And when you think about the entire idea behind grassroots efforts, it really is the opposite of a white savior or trying to rescue the victim, right? Because it's a community caring for itself, kind of rising up from the bottom up, and where the people are empowered, right? And where we help each other and where we recognize each other's strengths and each other's struggles. And one of the goals of tonight's presentations is to really show how we can all become allies and more powerful allies together in order to shift from being part of the problem, from being silent or complacent within this system of racism that continues whether we are actively pulling the levers or not, and then shifting to being part of the solution. And I also like to think about it in terms of if we all displayed our challenges for the world to see, we actually would probably treat each other with more compassion, but we don't, right? Most of our challenges are internal. And so instead, we must give each other grace and always remember that we each have hidden struggles and we also have hidden strengths. Working together and building community, it's not about competition. It's really all about compassion. So just to give you a little idea of what to expect for tonight, we're going to have a panel presentation from some amazing people who are working within the community with youth and family, followed by open discussion and questions and answers. Feel free to use the chat throughout to ask questions or to add your comments. We welcome them. And if you are tuning in through Facebook Live, we have posted the Zoom link there in the comments for you. If you join us with that Zoom link instead of Facebook Live, you can participate in the polls and be part of the discussions kind of in a more meaningful way. So this is our panel tonight, and we are going to hear from each of these amazing people. So we see that we have the Raising Anti-Racist Children Parenting Workshop, which myself and Tdr Everett and Kim Doliato are representing. We have the Sarasota Anti-Racism Working Group, which Queen Makasia Zabriskie is representing tonight and leads. We have the Leaders' Rights Organization and also Minnesota Mamas for Change, which Elena Martinez is going to be sharing with us tonight. We have Support Sarasota Manatee Black-owned businesses, which Dr. James Miner is going to be sharing with us. And we have the Breakfast Club and Tag Movement Consulting, which Dr. Javar Godfrey is going to be sharing with us. So I cannot wait to get started. However, I'm a teacher, and so I always like to start by kind of setting up the context and thinking about kind of the bare bones statistics. So we have here a report done right here in Tampa Bay. It's called the State of the Region Report. And in this one, they were looking at the racial sentiment. This was done in October, just before the presidential election. And this survey was conducted by Tampa Bay Partnership, which is a coalition of regional business leaders in collaboration with the Community Foundation of Tampa Bay, United Way Suncoast, and USF MoMA College of Business. I'll need to close this. Oh, come back. There we go. Okay, so we see that here in Tampa Bay, and I know that we're not in Tampa Bay, so right next door in Tampa Bay, 7 in 10 Tampa Bay area residents perceive race relations in the United States as generally bad. So about 30% said it was generally good, and about 70% generally bad. However, when asked about local race relations, we see that it's almost flip-flopped, right? So about 70% think that local race relations are generally good, and about 28% feel that they are generally bad race relations here locally as compared to nationally. When we think about this, or when we break this down in terms of the race of the respondents, this is what we see. So when asked the question, how much attention is being paid to race and racial issues in your community these days? So first I want to just draw your attention to the gray columns. So these are going to be the white or Caucasian respondents. And we see that it's about equal across the board. So about the same amount of them thought that there was too much attention being paid to race and racial issues. About the same amount thought that there was too little attention being paid to race and racial issues locally. And about the same amount thought it was just about the right amount of attention being paid. This contrasts starkly with Black or African American respondents. So we see that 64% of Black or African American respondents feel that there is too little attention being paid to race and racial issues here in our community locally. And so this kind of sets the stage for us to think about perceptions of race relations, and specifically depending on what group you are a part of. So the follow-up to this is, well, are race relations, doing okay here in Tampa Bay? And of course, we're all here because we know that the answer is no, they are not doing very well. There are definite racial inequalities locally in addition to nationally. So we see here, these are all numbers from Tampa Bay. Our Black workers here in Tampa Bay earn about 20% less than their white counterparts, no matter what educational level they attain. Our Black students perform markedly below their white peers in Florida, scoring anywhere from 31% to 34% lower on standardized tests. That's in grades 3 through 12. Our Black children in Tampa Bay are almost 3 times as likely to be living in poverty compared to whites. And the gap in home ownership is 73% for whites compared to 41% for Blacks. So these are all local numbers right here in Tampa Bay. And so I just wanted to take a moment to kind of ground ourselves in the reality that we are living in. And of course, we all recognize that these are big problems and that we are here to add our efforts behind solutions that are already happening here in Sarasota. So we are here to become greater and more powerful agents of change. So just like Tampa Bay, our neighbor, Sarasota is steeped in racial injustice, right? We have a history of racial injustice, and that history is still impacting us today, absolutely. One of the inspirations for bringing together this panel this evening of grassroots efforts is that it's really easy to get discouraged. So I'm a Sarasota native, born and raised, and when you have lived in this town for even a short time, it's really easy to fall into thinking that, the powers that be are running everything. Money speaks, race speaks powerfully, and that, there's very little being done about this, right? However, the reality is that there really are members of our community that are rising up, we are speaking up, and we are organizing. So I just wanted to bring this group together today. This is merely a sampling, guys, of the grassroots efforts happening in our community. It is exciting. It is really encouraging. So that is my first goal tonight, that we should recognize that change is coming if we will simply keep working hard and keep uniting and keep elevating the voices of others within our community. Our second goal is to get involved, right? So a lot of people come to the anti-racism movement and say, how can I help? What can I do? What should we start doing? And the answer is to partner with current efforts, right? The groups and the individuals that you're going to be hearing from tonight are doing amazing things. They've been doing them for some time, and they are having results. And so if we can just partner and unify our forces, that is a huge part of the solution. And then the third goal that we have tonight is to really make it personal, right? I mean, it would seem disingenuous to spend a day volunteering, for example, and then come home and not carry that work with us into our homes, into our families, and into our local neighborhoods and our community. So we each have a role that only we can play, right? You are the best person to touch those closest to you. And so when we take those efforts that we are applying out in the community, and we make it personal, and we make meaningful changes in our personal lives, we really can make big changes to impact our own little corner of the world. So without further ado, we are going to get started. Let me see here. I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment so we can look at each other's beautiful faces. And we have Kim Doliato is going to be sharing first, and she's going to be sharing about the Raising Anti-Racist Children Parenting Workshop. So just a little bit about Kim. She wrote about topics like early childhood education and development for the Sarasota Herald Tribune for years, and she is now writing for Sarasota Magazine. She's a mother, she's an active community member, and she's an Italian-Canadian immigrant. So she always brings a really interesting perspective. She believes that reflection and conversation are essential stepping stones to build a world where equality is a given for our children. And I think we can all agree that we can get behind that goal. So Kim, who is a co-facilitator for the parenting workshop, I am going to pull up your slide and I'm going to hand it over to you.
Well, thanks for making me sound amazing, Sarah. I appreciate that. So I wanted to kick off my piece here with a question, a poll question, Annalise, if we can do that. I wanted to ask everyone if it was taboo to talk about race growing up in your households. So there are can everyone see the answers you can choose from?
Yep.
Yep, looking good, all right. So we'll just take a moment to answer this. And submit. I think has everyone had enough time? I think so, right? So I like to contextualize this by starting off with this really great study I ran into. Oh, here are results. Let's check this out. Taboo in your home. So we've got 3% for yes, and I'm a person of color, 21% no, and I'm a person of color, 21% for yes, and I'm white, and 55 overwhelmingly no, and I'm white. Huh. I don't know that I expected to see those answers, but that's good news because the study I was about to reference is a little different in its outcomes. I
think we do have a special group here for sure.
Well, that's for sure. True. Thank you, Sarah. So exactly 2 years ago, the Sesame Workshop did an Identity Matters study. It surveyed more than 6,000 parents of children ages 3 to 12. This was a national study. And also more than 1,000 elementary school teachers, pre-K through 5th grade, on attitudes, experiences, approaches to helping children learn about identity. So there were all kinds of takeaways. I'm happy to share this link after our talk today. But one of the main takeaways I took from it was the fact that Black parents were 3 times as likely to talk to their kids about race than white parents were. And many teachers also came back with not feeling equipped to do so in the classroom. So that's just 2 years ago. Today, well, after the murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Daniel Prude, Rayshard Brooks, and while the BLM movement was really flourishing, Sarasota area parents were wanting to find ways and tools to speak to their kids about race, possibly bring it into the classroom. Well, I won't bore you with all the politics of how that rolled out, but there was a lot of pushback, and there was in particular one really great tool. It was a brain pop video that sort of spoke in really great terms, spoke to children about the BLM movement, and white parents didn't want to have it shown in classrooms. So if for those who aren't familiar with what brain pop is, it's this great resource of educational materials aimed at children that teachers use in classrooms for all kinds of topics like science and civics, etc. So that wasn't going to happen. So effectively, parents got shushed and the whole thing got tabled. Race wasn't going to make its way into classrooms. And I don't know if everyone's aware, last week, Governor DeSantis just also explicitly said that race would not make its way into some new civics curriculum that is going to be implemented statewide. So the takeaway is that there really wasn't a platform for this in classrooms. So families are being shushed, and they really, I think it left a lot of parents wanting to still push forward and bring it into the home, but they needed the tools and the resources to do it, because I think many, as the study showed, and for many of us, I don't know that we learned that from our parents growing up. And so, I can easily say my parents never broached it growing up. So in doing the workshop, though, one thing that me and my co-facilitator at the time saw was that Black parents were signing up too. So of course my bias going into this was thinking, oh, this is like probably for white parents, right? But I was wrong. And so Black parents are also showing up for allyship, support, bringing solutions, and just being part of the conversation, which was really powerful and just made it so much richer. And one thing I like to do in the workshop, it's based on a book, but we use a book as a reference that we all read together. But one thing I like to ask is, just to shake things up, is I like to ask everyone what they like most about being the race they are. So especially with white parents, I like to try, and I got that from another workshop that I went to, I stole it. So to ask white parents to kind of not see race as something that's just outside of whiteness, but to also recognize their own whiteness. So what is your favorite part about being white is the question. And typically the response is pretty squirmy. People get pretty uncomfortable for a moment, because I don't think that's a common question to be posed. So I like to break the ice with my answer, which is, I don't have to leave a job interview wondering if I'm not going to get it because of my race. And so it's just a powerful moment. It connects us all. We ask the question of everyone, so Black parents too. And it just kind of helps us level the playing field as far as seeing ourselves and each other more equally. And I think one more question I wanted to ask is, how often does race come up today in your household, would you say? Annalise, can you post that poll, please? Thanks so much. So frequently, and I'm a person of color. Rarely, and I'm a person of color. Frequently, and I'm white. Rarely, and I'm white. Again, I know this is a special group of people. So majority, 60% frequently, and I'm white. Rarely, and I'm a person of color. Huh, frequently, okay. Does everyone see those results? So interesting to ask these questions.
Yeah, and so with the Raising Anti-Racist Children parenting workshop, this is really what our goal is, right? Is to get white parents to feel confident and comfortable in, bringing up issues of race with their children, and doing it frequently. So I think you guys are doing an okay job. Yeah. Gold stars. All right, well, the next person we have sharing is Tdr Everett. Tdr is a wife, a mother, and an educator. She taught for many years at ME Booker Elementary, and she is now at Bayhaven. You may have seen her recently in the news for how she teaches Black History Month in a really amazing and fun way. Tdr enjoys traveling, spending time with family. She has a deep passion for promoting kindness amongst children because that's where it all starts. And Tdr is going to share with us a little bit more about how the Raising Anti-Racist Children parenting workshop actually runs.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tdr. Thank you, Sarah, for that introduction. So basically, I guess everyone needs a safe space and a place that they can get empowered. And so for the parents that we have worked with in our workshop, we've been able to provide that empowerment for them by helping them get those conversations started. Some parents have said that they're not, I guess you could say, intermingling with people of different colors or different racial background, but we've empowered them to get those conversations started, maybe from like a commercial, or I saw someone put in the chat that Brain Pop gets a lot of conversations started with their children. And it's just really important to get those conversations started with your kids, even as uncomfortable as they may be. With our workshop, we have a book study. So we have self-reflection and introspection. So basically, we read these books each week. We are talking about how each chapter affects us individually. We also have kid-friendly material and YouTube videos to get those conversations started with your kids. It's pretty amazing to hear the feedback from that because someone, may feel like they have to be in an area surrounded by people of color in order to make a difference. But you can actually start in your own home. And it's not always going to be something that you have a straightforward answer to. You might have to just put it on pause and say, hey, we can come back to this. Let's go and look it up. Mommy, daddy, we're not sure. But I will get an answer for you. And of course, it's all about the delivery and keeping that positive mindset when you're having these conversations with your children, because they are looking up to you and you don't want to steer them away from it. But you also want to be mindful of what they're able or capable of processing in their various age groups. So again, we have kids' books that we use as reference, as well as videos to have those conversations getting started. And after that, you have kids like asking more questions. We've had parents come back to the group and say, oh yeah, I had this conversation with my kid, and they had responses that we didn't even expect. I know with my own children, I've gotten responses from them, that I didn't expect. So it's just a really wonderful thing to see. And I'm excited about how it's going to continue unraveling for the Sarasota community. I'm not a Sarasota native. I'm a Florida native, but not a Sarasota native. So it's still new, the dynamics of how everything goes here. But it's pretty interesting, and I am here for the ride.
And we are certainly glad you are, Tdr. Thank you so much. And we are so lucky to have Fallon Enfinger with us tonight to give us a parent's perspective. Fallon went to the workshop recently, and she is going to share with Kyle about her family.
Hi, I'm Fallon. I'm basically from Sarasota. I grew up in Sarasota since I was 6 years old. And I have Kyle here. He's my 7-year-old. I have 3 kids, so I have a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 4-year-old. And we took this course back in like November, December of last year. So because of all of the issues last year, racial issues that had come up. It had really kind of stirred within our family that we needed to learn more. We needed to learn more, not just about racism, but about anti-racism. And then as parents, what we can do to really instill good values in our children. I think one of the biggest things that from the very beginning of taking that workshop, and it was a small, more intimate workshop, which I really liked because we could all get involved and have, good conversations. But one of the biggest things from the very beginning was that it was a safe place for us to discuss these topics that, especially us being a white family, I kind of was in the mindset of I didn't want to say the wrong thing. And I didn't want to say the wrong thing around my children. I didn't want to say something that would, make them seem racist in some way or make myself sound racist. But in the workshop, that was one of the first things they let us know is, this is a safe place. And even outside of the workshop, how it is safe to speak about it. And if you make mistakes, you learn from them. And it was great to also, discuss that with our kids and instill that in our children, that it's okay to make those mistakes about such a topic that's so important, and to have those ongoing conversations. But every week we did all of the videos. I did the videos for the parents, and then I did the videos and our discussions with the kids every week, and it was really enlightening. And like Tdr said too, I was so impressed by some of the conversations that I had with the kids. Like, they taught me so much in this journey also. And even Kyle, you were telling me the other day, what was one of the big things that you had learned from the workshop?
We all look the same under our skin.
Mm-hmm. So one of the videos we had watched, I think it was a book that was read, a children's book, and it really explained that when you strip away our skin, that we all look the same under our skin. And then Kyle also had some really enlightening, solutions to problems for racism too. So it was really amazing to work together to learn. And then it also just kind of stirred this kind of need in me, and then it seems to kind of go along to the kids too, to become allies, to become activists, and just to see what we can do in our community and keep learning together. So we keep learning. We added Black history into, because we homeschool, so we added more Black history in. We're able to go to a civil rights museum in North Carolina, and we had so much more. We have so much more to learn. So it was so wonderful having this workshop and just getting us all motivated as a family too. So we're so appreciative of it.
Well, we appreciate you too, Fallon. It's such a great, special thing to have a small group of parents, usually mostly moms, but where we can really kind of say things that we've been, kind of afraid to say wrong, and make, mistakes and learn from them, and then just, be on this continuous journey of growth. I mean, I've probably run 5 workshops at this point, and I literally still learn something at every single session. So, it never ends, and that's really, I'm just so glad that we're able to have this opportunity to touch more families. So just very, very briefly, and then we're gonna move on from the parenting workshop. But for anyone who's here who has not taken it, you can register at sarasotastrong.org. It is open to Sarasota area parents of kids aged 7 to 12. That's the recommendation. We were pretty loose about that. It's 4 one-hour Zoom sessions with homework in between meetings. We keep it very small groups, like about 6 parents usually, just so we can have really open and honest discussions every week. We are having 2 workshops coming up that are open for registration. One is Tuesdays at 6:30. So it's going to be 4 Tuesdays in a row starting April 13th from 6:30 to 7:30. And that would be with Tdr and I. Those are those dates. If you want to sign up, you can go to sarasotastrong.org. And then Kim and Erica Robbins are going to be co-facilitating a second workshop running at the same time on Wednesdays, starting April 14th from 7:30 to 8:30. So I do hope that if you're interested, if it sounds like something that you could grow from, that your family could benefit from, that you will join us. And just go to sarasotastrong.org to get registered or to learn more about it. So thank you, ladies, for sharing.
Can I add one thing, Sarah?
Yeah.
And we would like to have more male participation too. We always get moms. But dads need to hear this stuff too.
Right, exactly. All right, so the next person that's going to be sharing is Queen Makasia Zabriskie, and I need to pull up my notes because this woman is amazing and is always doing something amazing. Okay, she's an associate professor of sociology and theater, dance, and performance studies at New College of Florida. She is also the co-director of the Initiative on Diversity and Equity in Academics IDEA at New College. Dr. Zabriskie was actually just honored at the 2021 Unity Awards last week for her work with IDEA in bringing, you know, really meaningful, powerful programming to Sarasota for Black History Month of February. They always do amazing things. Zabriskie is a co-founder and co-organizer of the Sarasota Anti-Racism Working Group, and that is what she's mainly going to be talking to us about this evening. And she also is the co-founder and co-organizer of the Minnesota Anti-Racism Coalition, which both are currently housed in the Peace, Education, and Action Center in Sarasota. So I am going to hand this over to Queen.
Hi, everyone. How are you all this evening? It's so great to be here with you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm also a mom. I'm a single mom of a beautiful 6-year-old named Mohammed. And so you may see him come in and say hi to everybody because he is on Zoom with me as we are at home doing this work now. So the Sarasota Anti-Racism Working Group started actually in 2018. It grew out of a series on race and racism that happened between my class at New College of Florida and the Peace, Education, and Action Center. I teach a class called Social Inequality, Race, Class, Gender, and Power. And so the students who were in that class once a month would go to the Peace Center to have intergenerational dialogues that I facilitated about race and racism. So we'd watch things like Race, the Power of an Illusion, which is a great video that if people haven't seen, you should see it. We watched 13th. You know, we did a whole bunch of things as a part of that series. One of the things that we did is we participated in a workshop, an Undoing Racism workshop by the People's Institute for Survival and Beyond, which Kim, right, the activity, right, comes from, which is awesome to see how the work moves in different spaces. And so from the People's Institute's workshop, which I'll put PSOB's website in the chat, which that workshop is really about, you know, creating a common analysis and understanding the history and developing our own identities as anti-racist organizers. We decided to keep the group going. And one of the first things that we did, often when people take that workshop, they want to jump into sort of action elsewhere or action out into the community. And that's where we started. And then we said, wait a minute, we need to jump more into sort of internal action, right? So we need to jump into action in a different way to think about how racism has misshapen all of us, right? Because of the messages that we get in the institutions, the different institutions and the different systems that we're connected to. So, you know, because of the messages that we get in our families, in our churches, in our schools, because of the messages that we get in the entertainment system, right? And in the media, right? What are the ways in which we've all been misshapen by racism and white supremacy? And so we wanted to start with that internal work before jumping out into the community. So we spent a couple of years doing that internal work, and then developed the mission statement on the working group, and then began to sort of think about, okay, what kinds of projects, right? How do we balance both the internal and the external work? Continue to understand that race and really racism continues to misshape all of us constantly, right? We're still getting messages. So, once we, had conversations about, well, what's the first memory of race that you remember, right? That you have, right? What's the first story about race that you've ever, that you can think of? Once we continue to have those conversations, and also talk about things like, what's your own family's history, right, as it relates to race, right? So for white folks, when did your people become white, right? We know that, all white people didn't become white at the same time, and in the same way. When did your people become white, right? For people of color, right? How has racism shaped you, right, in your family and in the schools that you're in? What are the messages you got? So we did that work and continue to do that work, and continue to work on how we treat and interact and work together with each other. We're big, and this comes directly out of the People's Institute's work. We use a covenant that comes from the Institute where, we sort of think about, okay, how do we want to be together, right? We can't go out and say we're doing something for someone else when we're not actually, creating that same kind of culture in our group, right? So we continue to work on that and try to get better at that, right? Because that's ongoing work. That's an ongoing struggle. But one of the things that we started to do was to sort of think about what kinds of work outside of our group and our space, and the organizers, the organizers we were developing in our group. What kind of work outside do we want to do? And we started to, and this actually came out of Jerry Chafe, who's here, reaching out to us and saying, hey, let's talk about, the educational system. There's some stuff going on I want to talk to you all about. And so we're like, okay, come to our meeting. Hey, Jerry. And so from that meeting with Jerry, we began working on an educational equity project, which is sort of the core of what we're doing right now. Prior to that, we were doing a lot of stuff in faith-based community, or wanting to organize a faith-based Undoing Racism workshop to begin organizing in that community, which of course COVID derailed as it did for so many people. And so right now, a lot of our work is on this educational equity project that I'll talk about. And so from our conversations with Jerry, from our own sort of research in our group, and in response to the brain pop video that so many folks have mentioned, and the implicit bias training that got canceled right at the beginning of the school year, we put together a petition urging the Sarasota School District to undo racism. We took that petition to the coalition. The Minnesota Anti-Racism Coalition is one of the things that, the entities that developed out of the working groups, discussions of what kind of impact we want to make. One of the things we notice is that we all work, there's so many people doing such great work in the community, but we often work in silos, and we're not connected to each other. So we wanted to build this anti-racism coalition, which you can find information out about at the Peace Education and Action Center's website. I'm going to put it here. And so we took our petition to the coalition and presented it and got coalition members to sign on to it and to actually help us deliver it to the school board. So we sent it to the superintendent and all the school board members, and then we had one of the coalition members, Answer Suncoast, presented at a school board meeting, and also then subsequently email it to the school board members and the superintendent again. And so the petition now has about 2,291 signatures on it, and we're still just collecting signatures to sort of deliver it again, right? Part of the work that we began to do is to be in conversation with folks in the school district, as well as other folks in the community, and to create this educational equity webinar series that I'm going to share with you all about. And this educational equity webinar series, this is a flyer for the one that's coming up in April, on April 8th. We're really seeing this series as a tool for us to organize. And what I mean by organize is just to bring people together, to dialogue about these issues, to talk about, to learn about these issues, and to talk about what do we want to do, right? We're definitely we have a very collective process, right? Where we like to use sort of dialogue and input from a bunch of different people to figure out the direction that we're going to take. So this is the third event in this series. The first event happened during New College's Black History Month programming, and it was, we had a Black Lives Still Matter symposium, and the whole symposium was connected, but in particular we had some of the organizing members of a movement called Black Lives Matter at School, and you can go on their website and find out more information, but that is a nationwide movement endorsed by the National Educators Association, and that is really trying to achieve some of the same goals that we sort of came to in our petition, right? Thinking about the curriculum, getting, having students have access to counselors rather than having to deal with the police and school resource officers, a whole bunch of other things that I could go through on our petition. So that was that first webinar that happened there, where we talked with them about their organizing that they were doing, and really some of the same kind of ways in which talking about race and racism and talking about Black Lives Matter gets sort of derailed nationally, right? Oh, that's too political, we can't talk about it, right? That's too this and that, right? All of these kind of misconceptions. But yet and still, we still see the same kind of outcomes that Sarah presented for us in the beginning of this workshop, and other ones too. The next webinar was building a student support network. And we really were talking about restorative justice. And we had Veda Jackson Carter from the Students to Successful Citizens System of Care program in Alachua County talk about their program and the work that they've done. We had Rex Ingrid from the Sarasota County School District talk about restorative justice practices in the school district. And we had, through a connection, thanks to Sarah, right, with Moms Demand Action, we were able to get Akua Bonsu, who's a senior researcher at Everytown for gun safety, to come and talk about the disproportionate way that school resource officers negatively impact students of color. And so that was a really powerful presentation and discussion. The one that you see here on April 8th, we know that Harriet Moore was named the district's first Director of Innovation and Equity. And so she's going to come and talk about the work that's happening in the district as it relates to educational equity. We're going to have Luz Cortera, who's with Unidos Now, talk about the amazing work that's happening through Unidos Now in the Latinx community. And then we'll have Shavonna Sheffield, who is a longtime educator and administrator and is currently working in the Community Foundation on their literacy and reading projects, talk about reading and literacy and talk about the work with students with disabilities. And then the last session on May 13th is going to be designing an anti-racist curriculum, where we have Dr. Denise Davis Cotton from the Paint Center at USF, Jerry Chafe, who's here, talk about the work that she's doing, and then Tdr Everett from Modern Marimba talk about the anti-racist work that they do through Modern Marimba. And so each of these sessions corresponds to one of the things that we asked the school to address in, or they correspond to some of the things we asked the school to address in our petition, right? Like developing an anti-racism curriculum, right? Developing and investing in student support networks, recruiting and retaining Black, Indigenous, and people of color educators, administrators, and staff. And then also, you know, really doing more work in the district around establishing an equity committee, which they have done and which we are, you know, glad and thankful to be a part of, to continue to do some of this work. So if anyone is interested in working with us on this, you can, you know, reach out to me directly or reach out to the Peace Center. You can come to any one of those webinars. And we're really hoping to work with parents and educators and students as a part of this project. Like I said, this is an opportunity for us to organize around this. So anyone interested in organizing with us around this, please reach out. And so thank you. I meant to start a timer and I never pressed start, so I have no clue if I went over, and I apologize if I did.
It was wonderful. I don't know if you went over either, but you did great. Thank you for sharing. That is such important and powerful work. Yes. Thank you. So our next person that's sharing, I mean, isn't this powerful stuff, guys? I mean, if you don't know what's happening already here in our community, it, you know, you could just be in your own little bubble thinking, oh, I'm the, you know, like we're the few people that are doing this work, and we're the few people that realize that these are big issues and are working for change. But, you know, it's all of us here together. So the next, young lady is Elena Martinez, and she is representing two groups tonight, actually. She's going to be talking to us about Minnesota Mamas for Change, and she's also going to be telling us a lot about the Leaders' Rights Organization, which she heads up. So Minnesota Mamas for Change is an inclusive group for progressive moms in the Sarasota and Manatee area, and the Leaders' Rights Organization seeks to promote and facilitate social, political, economic, and environmental changes within the community. Like, wow. So without further ado, I am going to hand it over to Elena.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this panel. I definitely am so appreciative of all of you all on here, and I find it to be encouraging. So thank you for that. So I wanted to talk about Minnesota Mamas for Change. I am an active member within them. They wanted to make sure that I relayed their mission. Their mission falls along the lines of basically they have a huge emphasis on communication, and they feel, and we feel, that the communication within the community is something that has to increase on all levels, from everyone from different walks of life. They also wanted me to include that in the future they would love to have more events and to cover specific topics about social justice, and they will continue to stay educated on local government issues as well as social and racial issues. Minnesota Mamas and I have joined together for a few different events, or they have supported the Ladies' Rights Organization in our efforts. An event that Minnesota Mamas for Change and I did together was we did a children's march, which was similar to someone earlier, where basically we taught that, our lesson was that racism is something that is taught, not something that you're born into. So during that march, we were able to use fun facts and different riddles and songs to engage the children, to just seeing the bigger picture that, it's okay to be different, and just teaching them different ways to learn about others without feeling awkward, which I feel like we were very successful in doing so. And we were able to gain a lot of allies in that moment that we had with the parents. And we had like an open floor where we were able to discuss some of the issues that the parents felt were in the community, which were some of the same issues that we are all actively tackling. So that's for Minnesota Mamas for Change.
Join that group, Elena. People can just search for it on Facebook, and then they just answer a few questions, and then they're in, right?
Correct. Yes. And there's always an administrator that is there, available to answer any questions, or and they're able to share helpful things and updates and things like that on the page. So it's a really good forum to have for any parent that is just looking for other parents, to interact with on the same page. So that's Minnesota Mamas. So as far as the Leaders' Rights Organization, there are many different organizations here in Sarasota, and a lot of different efforts of just individuals here within our city. So we felt that there was a need for additional support here within our communities. So we decided to develop an organization that would focus on the community and building relationships. So what we have done is we do a lot of things. We have joined Speak Outs with PSL, which is the Party for Socialization and Liberation. We do weekly feeding of the community on Wednesdays, and also on Thursday. We have also done clothing giveaways. We have done a back to school drive of for supplies for students that were going to be homeschooled, because although we knew that there was a lot of different initiatives being done within our community, we realized that sometimes the homeschool students were not getting the supplies that they may have needed or wanted. So we did do a back to school homeschool supply giveaway. We hosted Thanksgiving banquets, or a Thanksgiving banquet for the community, because we realized that there is a large population of homeless people in Sarasota. And a big part of being homeless is, a lot of them don't feel like they have someone that does care. Even though there are programs, they don't feel that personal touch. So we decided to come together as a team, and we joined, and we had volunteers from Moms Demand Action. We had volunteers from Minnesota Mamas for Change, and of course LRO, and a few other individuals that came together on Thanksgiving, and we had meals prepared for the community, and we did a service style for each person that came, and they were able to get their fill. On Christmas, we also did, instead of feeding, we did something that we felt was a little more sweet, which is what we called our event, the Cocoa and Cakes. So we we had hot cocoa and a different spread of like desserts and things like that that we provided to the entire community, homeless involved. And those are just some of the things that, you know, we do. We also do protests. We do not just necessarily protests, but we do demonstrations that are geared at teaching awareness of the current times, and how some of these things look. I have a background in theater, and it caused me to have a more open mindset, to see things in a different, I guess, a broader view than maybe, you know, others. And so we basically did like demonstrations where we showed or acted out different scenes to gauge the emotion within the community, because we felt like with all of these different tragedies that we have all faced, yes, it made people, you know, angry or upset, but it wasn't, we felt like their the way that they were, I thought that was me. The way that they were understanding the real concept of the reality of the things weren't being really portrayed to them. So we opened that door for that with our demonstrations. Overall, the Leaders Rights Organization, you know, we all know that all humans desire compassion and understanding, and that's not because of not because we possess a particular set of traits or attributes. We feel like racial awareness is critical in the foundation to implementing a productive, diverse society. So like, for example, I'm also affiliated with the Sarasota Ministerial Association. And during our workshops, we discuss the critical race theory, which basically suggests focusing on personal experiences of racism rather than studying others. We do feel like it's important to be racially aware, and in order to do that, you have to acknowledge race-based privilege and oppression, acknowledging that most racism, both passive and direct, are often motivated by fear of social disapproval. And we also have learned, you know, over time that social media has provoked the idea, not just social media, but media has provoked the idea that being racially aware requires pity. And for pity to exist in its true form, it will require one group to lessen the other, which in fact rebirths privileged thoughts, making even pity disingenuous. The solution that we offer to the community is, you know, is to engage in different ways than before, to remain consistent, to deal in honesty. And another big thing that, you know, I think that is not discussed enough is voting, to select consciously on who we are actually voting for. We've all seen the negative effects of an uninformed voter, and in turn, we all have suffered. So, you know, those are just some of the things that the Leaders' Rights Organization stands for, as well as Minnesota Mamas. And I don't know if you can pull it up, the 4 promise, if you can get it on the screen.
I might have missed that one. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm gonna pull it up on my thing so I can quote it. Well, either way, actually, it'll be fine. But I'm just gonna wrap it up because I can't find it, and you don't have the thing. But I appreciate everyone, you know, and your willingness to be a part of this great movement overall. And the only way to bring about real change, we all, I think, can agree, is through consistency and not stopping and pushing the door a little wider every time. So I commend all of you, and I thank you again for your time today.
Thank you so much, Elena.
You're welcome.
All right. Wow. So much powerful work being done. This is great. So I think next we are going to have I'm going to mix up our order a little. I'm going to have Dr. Javar Godfrey come next. So Dr. Godfrey is a man of the people, a promoter of justice, and an advocate for social equality. His dream to bridge the gap between his community, education, and the youth around him inspired his specialized programs with youth and their families. Dr. Godfrey takes great pride in his tag movement consulting business and training a generation in which youth embark on a journey into adulthood. You are going to love Dr. Godfrey, and I am going to turn it over to him in one moment. I have to get myself organized. Okay, here we go.
So can I hear me? Can y'all hear me? Thumbs up. Can y'all hear me? Come on, let's move. Y'all got to move around a little bit. Can you hear me? Thumbs up. Come on. There we go. Now we're rocking. All right, check me out. While she's getting herself together, her beautiful self together, it's Women's Month, I need you to find a pencil or a piece of paper. Pencil, piece of paper. We got pencil, piece of paper. Get a crayon if you got to, but we got to write. Writing keeps you in the present. If you ever hear my name, attached to it is paper and pencil. Paper and pencil. Paper and pencil. We got to get up, y'all. Come on now. Wake up. No way, Jose. All right, here we go. Ding, 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 ding. I have something called rapid fire. So if you want to know what I do, tap in. So you have literally probably 15 seconds per question. And all that I ask is you remember this. The biggest lie you can tell to yourself. So that's why my stuff is called workshops and not workshops, because it's your work. You can like it or not. But I love it. I love helping. But if you really want to know what I do, I'm the master of listening. I got the biggest ear. Here we go. You ready? So first question. Let's go. How much drama, trauma, or stress have you dealt with in the past 2 weeks? Let me help you. A lot, a little, or none. Write it down. Write it down. Now, since we got a couple extra seconds, put a line down the middle of that and put work and then put home and then put play. Answer in those same lanes. So work, how much stress, trauma, drama, put school, whatever, and then, play. So you got 3 lanes. Where you at? If you're stressed out on all of them, we need to talk. All right, here we go. Next question. Next question. Who or what do you go to when you don't know who to go to? Write it down. I'll slow it down for you. Who or what, meaning whatever, do you go to when you don't know who to go to? Because you're going somewhere anyway, right? We've all been, I don't know what to do, but you do something. Where's that? Ooh, let's find that space. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Next question. Who makes you feel rushed? Who, I seen that left neck go like, somebody felt rushed right now. Who makes you feel rushed? Write it down and circle that person. And under it, write turtle. Because next time they talk to you, talk like a turtle. Nobody should make you feel rushed. And if they do, that might mean the energy they bring in, you need to get away from. Nobody should make you feel rushed, because when you feel rushed, you do rush things. When you do rush things, y'all know where I'm going. Next question. Next question. If you could choose any year of your life to redo, which year would it be? And follow it up with why. Remember, nobody's looking at your paper, so you can be real. Shoot, that year that I wish write it out. Let it out of your body. See, that's what's been on somebody's, like, they've been walking around and carrying. Let it off, but you can let it out in writing. Just write it out and then look at it. Write it down. Because I know, boy, if I was 21 again, I might not have my daughter. That'd be wrong. I'm not talking about you, girl. You should. All right, this is that. And I said, oh, hey, Miss Fallon. Hey, let me talk. Talk to me. What's your name? Miss Fallon, who is that? Talk to me. What's your name? Talk to me, little mama. What's your name?
What's your name? Tell him.
Don't melt. Don't melt. Don't melt. Hey, how old is she?
Sharing that little boy.
She's 4. This is Jordan. This is my daughter. She crept in the room.
No, don't creep. She can sit right there. Okay, back up. Back next question. Hey, girl. What's up? All right. What's the next question? Is that the next question? Next question. I don't know how many we got. What you got next? Oh, ooh, hey, now this one is gonna really hurt you now. If you feel it in your body, this is real. Who closest to you is holding you back? Who closest to you is holding you back? Now remember, and this is gonna sound like a to the gut, but remember this, it could be you. It could be you. That person with them toes wiggling, that you kind of sweat a little bit. Like, I know he ain't talking to you. I'm talking to you. But really, it's you talking to you for real, so don't get smart with me. Next question. Oh, Sarasota Breakfast Club. All right. So if you would go back. You don't have to go back to the first question. But what I would allow you to do is just go over that. Look at that. Think about that. Circle that. Scramble that. Draw pictures around that. And dig in your life and see where you can get better at, because every day we can get better. Every day. Who makes you feel rushed? That's energy you don't need. Because when you feel rushed, you don't feel right. Nobody's at their best. Nobody's at their best if they're doing too much or not enough. 50-50. You're at your best. We want you there. That one right there. Who or what do you go to when you don't know? You need to know that, because there could be a pattern there. You know, self-doubt is like a habit. It's like a pattern. You just keep picking it up every day. You know, you always say, man, they gonna say, they, who is they? You. They gonna say, no, it's really you. So I know they want a synopsis of what I do. You just seen it. That's what I do every day. We ask questions, but most of all, I listen. I can't really do a lot of listening now because my job is to let y'all know what I do. So that's what I do. I love little kids. Look at her. Every time she come in, I've been telling my girls to go away. Not yet. There you go. That's some self-confidence right there. See, you ain't melting no more. That's right. Get in the camera. Show them, be big. Take up space, girl. This girl's month. That's right. Take up space. So anyway, I don't know what else y'all really, you know, this is what I do. Doc Miner, I work a lot with. It's my guy in there. I see some other people I know. Miss Adams, I know I work with you somewhere. We keep on going. Let's go on. My point is, Miss Helen, I know I've seen you somewhere too. I don't know where. We've been doing some work. I don't know where. Is that? Okay, people gonna get mad in a minute. They feel like I'm at the Oscars. You know, you be like, all right, I'm gonna give it up to my. Anyway, that's what I do. I'm at the Breakfast Club. We created a program in which we allow students, teachers, and support staff to have an open forum about how they feel within regards to respect of everybody's feelings, right? So we come in there and teachers will come first. It's just all teachers. We do it at 6:15, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm a Tampa guy, so I get up really early, but I do that because it matters. Dr. Miner is also there with me every Tuesday, Thursday. Sarah shows up, you guys know. We've had teachers in there crying, just meditating, everything, because they need that, you know, just to see that I'm not the only one. And I know it's beneficial, because if they didn't come to where we're at, where are they going? To the classroom. And the sad thing is, but true thing is, it's coming out. Like that's coming out. And so that's our goal. And the vice versa is true with the kids as well. We do the same thing. So they come in at 7, and then we take them to, it's about 7:30, Doc. I think it's probably about 7, or whenever your first period starts. Doc and I, same with you guys just got. He'll throw questions in the air. I'll throw questions in the air. That's how it started. Well, now we ask them, you know, what do you want? And then they'll, hey, topic of the day, you know, they'll throw out, man, y'all need everything. We talk about everything. So that's what I do. I love people and listening, and I don't know, y'all. That's who I am, but I'll help in any way I can. I love seeing this, just smiling faces, because so many people are not happy right now, you know? And this is a good time for us to show, you know, our smiles to each other. And I always say this, but I'm gonna say it again, you know, there's a little voice inside of all of us that says, you know, you all right, keep going, you got it, you the bomb. Turn it up, you know? People want to turn that voice down, turn that up. I am all right, I am the bomb, I am getting in the camera, I am taking up space, because ain't nobody better than me. Nobody. Not at what I do, but ain't nobody better than you either. Nobody. But if you believe it, then the world will. And I do. And that's why I'm sharing it with y'all. Little mama, see, now look at you. You see how you stuck in there. You ain't melting no more. I already won. Look at that. Look at her. She melted out the camera like, now you in there, girl. In there. Ding, ding. So anyway, that's what I do. Thanks for y'all's time. I'm going to go mute. And the only reason my screen's black is I got 3 little girls who they're not giving it up. They not giving it up. But I'm here, and I hear you, and I love y'all. What's up, Chaplain Foster? What you got to say? Oh, you cut this out? What's up? Talk to me. You look like you got something to say. Say it. I ain't gonna get off here and tell you. Say it. What's up?
What's up? I appreciate you, Doc. That's all I got to say.
That's all I need, Ash. I just wanted to hear from you. That's all. Okay. 2 fingers. I appreciate. I'm here though. I'm on mute. I'm here, but no disrespect. I love this. We all in. You're beautiful, but my kid.
Thank you, Dr. Godfrey. We appreciate you being here. And if your child's school was not on that list, talk to your principal about bringing Dr. Godfrey with his breakfast club for your teachers and for your kids to really just have space to, you know, raise their concerns, to share their feelings, and to feel like, you know, to get pumped up, right? We all just got a little pumped up by Dr. Godfrey, and we want our kids to get that too, twice a week. All right, so we have Dr. Miner coming up next. Dr. Miner is amazing. Dr. James Miner is the president and founder of International Education Consultants and the coordinator of Riverview High School's world-renowned International Baccalaureate program. With a long history of speaking, training, and teaching, Dr. Miner specializes in leadership training, conflict resolution training, educational consulting, nonprofit management and sustainability, and social justice workshops. So we are so glad to have Dr. Miner with us today to share about his amazing movement that he started on Facebook. So I am going to pass it over to you, Dr. Miner.
Hey, everyone. I'm so happy to follow Javar. This is what he does to me every Tuesday and Thursday morning. He comes in there like 80 miles an hour. I'm just trying to get my coffee in. But Godfrey and I also do training together. We have we co-founded an organization called Our Justice Academy. You can check out our website, ourjusticeacademy.com, where we go in and work with kids around issues of justice in schools, school districts, diversity work, etc. But I'm here to talk a little bit about the work that I started this past summer with our Black-owned businesses group. I mean, it's a real privilege, first of all, to just be a part of it and to watch it grow over the past several months. Really, we, after the death of George Floyd and really looking deep about, you know, what we were going to do as a family outside what many of us were doing, which was marching and letting our voices be heard. I really wanted to do something that was practical, and at the end of the day, put my money where my mouth is. And I hopped on Google like most of us do. You know, when we want to track down some information, tried to search a working directory for our local Black-owned businesses. Really didn't find much, which was disappointing, not shocking, I think, but disappointing. So I took to Facebook. I called 2 friends of mine, 2 church friends of mine, Michael Kinsey and Dwight Josie, both African-American gentlemen, because I just didn't want to be, you know, like the white guy coming in trying to do something. And I really, they're a long time. Mike's a long time Sarasota native. Dwight grew up, he's like 7th generation Manatee County. I really wanted to get, you know, their leadership involved in how to sort of construct this thing. So we went ahead and started it, and it just took off. I think it was the right time for it. We've got almost 12,000 members now, between our Black-owned businesses owners and people who are actively supporting them from the local area. I think it's really important, besides, you know, the fact that it works to close sort of the wealth gap that's there. But what we're really kind of doing with this is that we are kind of deconstructing, if you will, the social construct of what it means to be of color and in business. One of the things I began to think about as we began to do this with my own kids is the places that we patronize. What do my kids see? In other words, everyone as my CPA, my attorney, my physician, my real estate agent, all white, and then I only go to businesses with people of color that are in the service industry. What kind of social construct are they learning in this process? And I thought it was a really interesting question, frankly, as I began to, it was the messaging that as a family, we were teaching our own kids of who we patronize and what they grow up seeing. So if you grow up seeing people in positions of wealth and power and professionals as white, that's what you grow up expecting the world to be. And if you grow up, so it is even beyond just patronizing Black-owned businesses, it's being very specific on how we do it so that our kids grow up in a world where they see people of color in positions of power, in positions of wealth, in positions of influence as normal. I remember years ago reading this brilliant, I think it was a dissertation, but it had to do with media representation of people of color and its influence long-term on the election of Barack Obama. And it was this idea when, as we become accustomed to representation over time, it begins to change sort of the way that we see things. Well, we should do that in the businesses that we patronize. And so, this was just, like I said, it was a small idea. I've been privileged to be a part of the work over the past, 9 or 10 months now. We've had loads of business owners whose businesses have been completely transformed. There's some phenomenal, one of the kind of eye-opening things for me, I grew up in Sarasota. I'm chairman of the Harvest House, so we do a lot of work in the community. But one of the things that I became super aware of in this process was the amazing breadth of services available in the Black community. Anything that you wanted, from physicians to real estate agents to every professional expertise, was there. And sort of within the context of my own life, who I thought, I'm relatively woke, pretty aware, what have you, I was blown away. Like, just eye-opening to see this whole world of hardworking, intelligent, brilliant business owners. And so, to me, it's where we put our money. I grew up in church, so we always learn where our money is, there our heart is also. So, money is a political tool, and it's a powerful tool. So where we choose to spend our money speaks volumes about our priorities and who and what we're doing. So I'm sure many of you are already, especially in this group, are already members of it. It was a small step forward, but I really have been so joyful in my own kids. We've got 4 kids. We're a mixed race family. I have 2 adopted children, but to bring them along with, see people that look just like them, who are wealthy, confident, hardworking professionals and business owners. I remember when the past election took place and Vice President Harris was elected, and almost within an hour, I saw on Facebook, I'm sure you saw it, a young African-American girl with a shirt that said, "My VP looks like me." I remember snapping a picture of that and sending it to Dr. Godfrey. We were just chatting back and forth about the importance of representation and seeing ourselves in positions of influence, et cetera. And so I think it's really important that we raise our kids that way, to change kind of the social construct of who owns and who does what, and just flip it completely on its head. I really appreciate you, Sarah, for inviting me. I'm speaking a little fast because I know time is short, but this is a great group. This is how change starts. It starts with conversations and transparencies and intellectual humility. Really, that's the key. As much as as many experts are in this room, when we approach really complex topics with intellectual humility, open hearts, and open minds, and together, walking forward together, that's how you change the world. So thanks very much, Sarah, and everyone for having us.
Thank you everyone on our panel for the work that you're doing, for being willing to come here and present, and for all of you guys being here to, you know, to say, yes, let's join together and let's join forces. What do I need to do? Oh, I need to tell you guys that Dr. Miner also was honored with a 2021 Unity Award last week. I forgot to mention that. And I'm going to share my screen with you guys briefly here. And then I know it's 7:30, so we're going to be done. Really amazing, powerful work here, guys. I'm just so glad to, you know, be able to present this, all of this great stuff happening. I'm going to zip through this, but Newtown Alive is out there. They are doing amazing things. If you have not gone to their website and signed up for their e-newsletter, you should. You can stay in the loop as to what events they are doing. Their trolley tours are starting back up, guys, and you can bring your family to learn our local history and honor Newtown's past and present leaders. Also, we're going to send this information out in a document. Annalise is going to be sending it out to the list. Into the Storm is a documentary put together by Booker High School students, all about the desegregation, how it was totally, how they, you know, the Black community was really, you know, the school board really turned their back on their obligation to the students at Booker High School in that process. But the students at Booker High School organized just like we are organizing, and they got their school reopened. Can I take half a minute and let Ashley Murphy share just 30 seconds about Moms Demand Action, which is another really socially progressive group?
Hi, thank you. Yeah, we are really privileged and honored to be a part of this call tonight, but also know the other organizations and the leaders that have spoken, the exception of Dr. Miner and Dr. Godfrey, but I'm really happy to become acquainted with you through this call. We work a lot in the community with anti-racism groups, and it's at the core of our mission to reduce and end gun violence and police violence in America. So if you need more information, I can put my email in the chat, and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashley. And Ashley put us in touch with Minnesota Mamas for Change and also Leaders' Rights Organization. And last one, Amy Weinberg from the Lean On Me Project. This is really powerful stuff too, guys.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, community and everyone I see and know. Thank you. The big thing that's coming up, the Lean On Me Project is really an initiative to heal education. And the biggest thing that's coming up that's not on here, but I'm sure it'll be sent with other resources, is our book circle coming up that can also be for either a CEU or graduate credit. And the book circle is for K through 6th grade teachers and 7th through 12th grade teachers, a guide for white women who teach Black boys. And for those courageous women and men who want to step forward, we'll be doing this in book circles, hopefully live, but probably Zoom at this point, right? And it's a grassroots movement because we can't wait for things to be handed down to us. If we want to have things change, we have to go do it, right? So to my white colleagues who want to know more and be better in their classroom to create that equity, we hope that you join us. It is free. The Lean On Me Project is sponsoring it, and we'll purchase the books for you. So that information as far as exactly when it will come out is on its way. So thank you for letting me speak.
Fabulous. And there will be updates on the leanonmeproject.org website. Thank you, Amy, for being here. We appreciate you. Guys, there are all kinds of activities going on all over town. I just came across the Sarasota County Bar Association. Every month they have these super powerful talks. You should be cued into them and just know, because they're always really pushing the boundaries right here in Sarasota. The Leaders' Rights Organization that Elena talked to us about are being part of this vigil, you know, in solidarity with the Asian community and to stop hate. So please join them. It's going to be tomorrow at 7 p.m. at the old IHOP on 301 in Sarasota. CDC guidelines will be followed, wear masks and stay socially distanced, but really, you know, in solidarity with those in our community that are really experiencing the brunt of racial hate yet again. This is a monthly thing, guys. Helen Neal Ali, she's here tonight. This is an amazing workshop. Helen, are you here? Do you want to say something? Because I have sat in on this and it's mind-blowing.
Right. Yes, we had a great one this month, and it was so overwhelming, and we had so many people that weren't able to come on that did register that we're doing another one. So these are ongoing monthly workshops, so letting go of traumatic pasts for those that people that are going through traumatic, as well as I had a lot of professionals that are working with people. So the information you can take, you get all the information that I give you, use it for yourself, use it for the people, because we want to help inform as many people as we can. So I look forward to having you and some colleagues or anybody that you know that really need to make a change in their life from their past or helping others. I appreciate them being at the workshop.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So awesome. What is this? Oh, next month. So remember, this is a monthly community conversation that Sarasota Strong does. Next month, Monday, April 26th, same time, same place. Parents have the power to change the world. Hey, that's us, guys. So these four amazing ladies are going to be sharing about early childhood development and what a huge impact it has on a person's entire life, and what steps we can take to really make it a positive time in their development. I think I said it right. Okay, hey, that's the end of our slideshow. We love you guys. We are so glad that you're here. Am I allowed to stay on here, Annalise, in case anyone has questions? But we are going to be sending out a Word document with all of the information, contact information, websites, flyers, upcoming events that we presented here today, because, you know, when we stand together, we are strong. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here.